Okay, I'm going to keep this short today because Socrates gave a long speech and they killed him for it. So, as we've heard. Okay, so I'm on this stage because of fear. Okay, the reason I'm here began with fear. In fact, pretty much everything that I do today, everything I have in the world, my livelihood, a lot of my friends, the ability to travel around the world, all of that began with fear. Yeah? Not a general fear, and not a fear of, I'm not here because Matt told me that you must be there or I'll hit you or anything like that. Not that kind of fear. And not a general kind of just fear of the world, but a very specific fear, the fear of one single jump about 15 years ago. And that fear kick-started everything for me and put me here today. And I want to be here. I definitely want to be here. This is the place that I want to be. I want to be speaking this event. This is an awesome event. I'm very proud to be part of it. And fear is the thing that has brought me here. Now, fear gets a bad rap these days. Generally, everyone, tells you these days that you've got to be strong. You've got to be confident. You've got to get out there. You've got to feel the fear and do it anyway. Just drive on and blast through it. Put it aside. Everything is awesome, right? You follow anyone's Instagram feed, and that's all you'll see all day long. Super motivational stuff. So it gets a really bad rap, and it's heavily vilified. But I think that's a bit of a shame, and I think it's actually not necessarily a good thing. Yeah, I think fear is, in my experience, it's probably our greatest adversary in terms of it stopping us doing what we want to do and what we perhaps should do. But I think it's also our greatest ally if we understand it, if we learn how to use it, if we learn how to engage with it, if we learn how to have a positive relationship with it. Okay? So I think in terms of unlocking heroic action, we really, really have to get very used to fear and understand our fears and understand what fear is and understand, therefore, how to navigate it, how to get around it. Okay? Because all the good things we want are on the other side of that fear. Yeah? Certainly for me, that has been the case, and that's what I'm going to talk about today with you guys. So where did my fear start? My fear started in Japan with a jump. Not this jump, actually. This was when I was slightly more experienced. But the jump I started with is how I ended up here. Okay, I was living in Japan. I was a lecturer. I was studying in martial arts. I'd gone there after university in England, and I was living a good life. I was very happy. I was very content. Everything was kind of automated, as it is in Japan, if you've ever been there. And I was having a good time. Yeah. Nothing was out of place. It was very easy. And I was learning good stuff. It wasn't I was doing nothing. I was there to learn skills I wanted to learn. So that was all cool stuff. But kind of hadn't really found my vocation. I was kind of cruising. Yeah. There hadn't really been any massive challenges. And I'd become very comfortable with the world of martial arts that I was studying. I'd become very comfortable training in that and engaging with other people in that and fighting in that sphere. And so I no longer really felt fear in that area. Didn't really have much fear about anything, really, I suppose. Didn't have anything to lose. Didn't have, I was kind of doing what I wanted to do. And then one day, fear came knocking, and very viscerally came knocking on my door, and kind of everything changed. And it began with parkour, which is what I do. Okay, so parkour, sometimes known as free running, or that crazy jumping off roof stuff that people do, which is often how it's seen. That's what I do. That's what I do for a living. I also do mountain climbing, riding motorbikes, jumping out of planes with guys like Marcus, all those kind of fun things, So statistically, maybe people would say, "Oh, these are statistically stupid things to do." Yeah, like hoping for an English summer every year. It's just it's brave to do that. People are like, "Wow, man, you have no fear. You have that ridiculous belief every year." But no, of course I know fear. I know fear really well, and I still know fear. Despite doing all those kind of things and having done parkour for 15 years now and moving in this way, people say, you must be fearless. Nothing could be further from the truth. Yep. So fear came along when I encountered parkour. And I went out to train it in Japan with a friend. Okay, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. We'd just seen it on a movie that was shown in Japan and France. And we were quite interested by it. So let's try that out. We went outside and tried it out. And probably my second session, I think. First session was really, really not worth mentioning. Second session came across a gap between two walls that were about probably 20 feet in the air and probably about 8 feet across. So probably from here to about there, I guess, to where the monitor thing is there. And I kind of thought, I think I can jump across that. I think I can make that gap. Can I make that gap? And as soon as I thought that, this fear entered. And it was like, my heart started beating. And I was like, oh, I think I can do that, but I'm quite scared of that. That feels, it's quite scary. But I think I can do it. I think physically and technically I could probably do that and climb up on the other side. So I had a choice, and I was like, well, I can either walk away, because it's quite scary. I thought, well, you can either walk away and just, there was no one there, no one's going to know, just walk away. Or I can sort of see if I can do it, you know. And this question into my mind, who's in charge? Is your fear in charge or are you in charge? And I was the only one there, but I would have had to live with the answer. So I was like, well, I want to be in charge, so I now have to do it, okay? So I stepped up to the jump. It took me a little while to think about it and plan it and plot it or whatever, and eventually I did it and climbed up the other side. It's a small jump. Now I look back in it, but at the time, I climbed up, and the person who landed that jump was different from the person that took off. You know, I was immediately thought, that's an amazing experience. I felt a very visceral fear, and I overcame it. Yeah. And what I didn't realize was that was my first introduction to a process we call breaking jumps. Okay. And that process is very much about listening to your fear, because your fear tells you what you can do. Okay. I wouldn't have been afraid of that jump if it was 30 feet long. If there was no way I could make it, there was no way I wouldn't even felt fear looking at it. I just looked at it and be like, oh, that's an interesting distance, and walked away, right? Because nothing in me would have started thinking, maybe he's going to do that. And that's what my body was doing. My body was going, shit, this guy's going to do that. Oh, I swear, by the way, sorry. There's lots of science that proves that people that swear are clever. My body was saying, he's going to do this jump. Prepare. So it was doing all the adrenal responses to get ready for it, right? And that's because it kind of knew that I could do it. If there was no ability to do it, it wouldn't have bothered preparing me. So what I now understand, after many years of studying, is that fear is actually a signpost as to what you can do. Yeah? So it's actually a guide. It's actually a beacon. It's actually a really useful thing. It's an ally. That was a very powerful realization for me. When I was a kid, my maths teacher told me that if you do a PowerPoint presentation, you should have a graph. Graphs make things cool. So that is a graph. It doesn't say anything of relevance, but at least there's a graph in the PowerPoint. So, all good. So my math teacher's happy now. So if he's watching. So I understood that it's an ally. Okay, so I started studying fear. What I came to understand that there's fear and there's fears. Okay, so there's this general fear thing that builds up in your head. It's like an architecture. It's like a spider web, and it's built up by small fears that you let grow into your life. Okay, fear generally you can't really get rid of. There's always going to be there. Okay, there are two fears that you can't get rid of. Does anyone know what the two fears are that are hardwired? You can't get rid of them. Falling, and loud noises. Boom! Look at that straight away. So these things are in the brain. You can't get rid of them. And there are the Moro reflex is the fear of falling. Yeah, you can test it by if you let a baby drop, it'll do this with its arms. As soon as it's born. I've done that a lot. So no, don't do it. Don't do it. It does work. It does work. It's called the Moro reflex. It's the fear of falling. The other one is the fear of loud noises, and you protect your head as a car goes off behind you. You do that. Yeah. These are starter reflexes. You can't get rid of them. Every other fear is learned. Every single other fear is learned. Everything. People go, fear of death. That's innate. No, it's not. Fear of death is not innate. It's learned. You have no concept of death when you're born. So you learn it, right? All fears are learned. What's the number one fear in the world? Does anyone know? The most popular fear?
I think arachnophobia.
It's close. It's about number 3.
Public speaking.
Public speaking! Look at that. How brave. How brave are all these people that have walked out? Glossophobia is the number one fear in the world, right? It's fear of public speaking. Everyone that's come out on this stage has dealt with that and blasted through it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. But those are the small fears, right? These are the tiny fears. They're small things, but they cast big shadows. Yeah, they have a huge effect on you. And the more you allow them to creep into your life and control you, the more they add up. And how many of your decisions every day are actually driven by fear? If you think about it, it's a lot. It's probably tens, maybe hundreds a day. Do I talk to this person that I kind of catch their eye and I want to speak to them, but I'm afraid of looking like a dick. Walk away. Swears again, more intelligent. So, you know, do I take that job into, I fear of rejection? Yeah. So many little things that hold us back. And the more you allow those things to build up, they build this huge architecture. And that architecture makes you less likely to engage with fear. Okay? tiny, tiny fears that make a huge effect on you, and they don't need to. Most of them are completely unnecessary fears. They are not part of our modern life. There's no reason to be afraid of a job interview, right? There's no reason to be afraid of talking to someone in a bar. Nothing's going to happen to you. Unless you talk to Marcus, in which case maybe. So it's fear itself that we've got to fear. That's the thing we've got to get over. We've got to get used to. We've got to realize that it's just a thing. I can engage with it. I can talk to it. Once I get that relationship with it, I can begin to navigate it. And as soon as I do that, I can start to do what I want to do. Because the thing that holds people back in the bystander effect, okay, yes, there's competencies and things like that that you need. But before you even get to those competencies, you've got to get past your fear. Okay? It's fear that prevents people doing stuff when they should be doing stuff. They see, I fear of looking like an idiot, fear of doing the wrong thing, fear of not being the right person. Yeah. So it's fear that stands between a normal person becoming a hero. Okay? Elizabeth yesterday spoke about that split-second decision that makes a normal person into a hero. Yeah? The problem is the barrier of whether you make that jump is fear. Yeah? So, and the more used you become to dealing with fear in small ways, the more you build up this muscle. Yeah? And you start to realize that you can get to the other side of it. You start to build up a psychological ability to deal with fear, okay? It's like a courage muscle. The more training, just like your physical muscle, the more training you do dealing with that fear, the better you get at dealing with it, yeah? And then you become capable of unlocking the competencies you have within you. So it's fear is really the ally that we need to get over, that we need to embrace, we need to utilize, right? It's an adversary that we need to turn into an ally. It's just an objective thing. It's there to look after you. It's trying to protect you, but it's got out of hand, that's all, yeah? Parkour has helped me learn that, and being here today and the people I work with, the company that I run, all that came from that one jump, okay? It came from that one, this is an amazing thing, it's an amazing experience, yeah? Overcoming that visceral fear. And that launched everything. So fear, for me, really guided the rest of my life for the next 15 years. Yeah? If I hadn't engaged with that fear, I wouldn't be here today. That's the truth. Yeah? I'll probably be speaking somewhere else on another stage about something completely different. But I wouldn't be here talking about this stuff, which is the stuff that I really love. Yeah? So my takeaway from this is, think about your fears. What are you afraid of? Take the time to actually sit down with yourself and think deeply. What are the things I'm most afraid of? Because I guarantee you, those are the things you should go towards. Yeah? Those are signposts of where you should be in life. So what are you afraid of? Be honest with yourself, 100% honest with yourself. What are you afraid of? That's the thing I need to be doing. Yeah? That's a guide, that's a signpost. You have to get out there and start working those fear muscles, the psychological muscles. Thank you very much.
The Hero Roundtables are the global events that ask the question, what is a hero? You've just seen one hero talk. To find more and join the conversation, visit our website or social media.